pirate-inspired indie survival game that lets me live out the fantasy of being a pirate, sinking ships, building my own home, well, port, fighting other pirates, and listening to sea shanties I haven't heard anywhere else before. Sign me the fuck up.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing.
Windrose is a pirate survival game where you fight against Blackbeard and his men while they're doing some necromancy shit, all while your own character is affected by a mysterious relic. The concept is pretty simple to follow, and that's about as much as I'm gonna say about the story. I don't really want to spoil it, because I genuinely think the story is too good for that, which is probably the biggest compliment I can give it. I originally played around 10 hours or so when the game released, before eventually putting it down and forgetting about it for a while. Then on the 7th of August, I decided to jump back in. I started completely over with a new character and a new world, and pretty much immediately fell in love with the game all over again. Although this time I also modded it after a few hours of playing, meaning my ship's a little faster, I have all the building pieces unlocked immediately, and I've made changes that let me focus more on the parts of survival games that I actually enjoy. We'll talk about it when it comes up. I'll talk a bit on it near the end. And one of the biggest pieces of what I enjoyed in survival games is simply the base building. Windrose doesn't let you build a completely custom ship. Instead, there are three main ship types: the Ketch, Brig and Frigate, with three versions of each: a normal, a Brethren and a Blackbeard one. You can customize things like the hull color, flag and Jolly Roger besides that, but that's about it. And honestly, I'm okay with that, because the actual base building is incredibly fleshed out. There is an insane amount of building pieces. Far too many for me to even show all of them here. In the vanilla game, there's also a pretty sensible progression system, with new blueprints being unlocked by defeating bosses or bought from provisioneers at Tortuga and the different faction bases. You can rotate pieces incredibly freely and use them to create some genuinely amazing places, yet people on Reddit and YouTube are considerably more talented at this shit than I am, but I can at least show you my own port here. The idea behind it is that this used to be a navy base and city island, probably Spanish, French or British, until my crew attacked it, took it over and converted it into a new base of operations. It's obviously nowhere near finished yet. I'm still working on it because I want the environment itself to actually sell that story, rather than just having me tell you that's what happened, not to mention I still need to build an entire fucking city. Exploration itself is pretty simple. If you've played other survival games, you'll know what to expect. And I don't really have much else to say about it, just that there is a lot of ocean. The resource grind though isn't really for me in most survival games. Normally you'd also need to be near your ship to access its storage. Is that realistic? Absolutely. Annoying when I'm hauling a fuck ton of resources around while in the middle of an island? Also, fucking absolutely. So I modded that out, so I can access my ship's inventory from everywhere, no matter how far away it is. The combat is another part of the game I've come to enjoy, which is rare for me in survival games. And I still decided to apparently make it significantly harder for myself without wanting to. I use a pistol and a rapier, because I just love the moveset of the rapier, and just like having a pistol that I can use in one hand, while still having the rapier in my hand. Which doesn't give me the best options for dealing with several enemies at once, although I'm also just stupid and not used to mouse and keyboard, because I routinely forget that dodging and blocking exists, or I just hit the wrong keys. I have no excuse for this, they're there, the game taught me how to use them in the opening tutorial, I just don't. Yeah. Thankfully my rapier of 1000 cuts inflicts bleeding and deals DOT, which helps considerably more than I can allow myself to openly admit. And then there's sailing. I fucking love the sailing. The ships feel good to control, traveling across the ocean looks beautiful, and there's even a bird's eye style camera that lets you pull away from the helm and just admire your ship as it sails across the sea. I only wish I could actually walk around the ship while traveling, without it slowing down to a stop after a bit. I'd love to be able to hire like a helmsman, place a marker on the map when talking to them, and have them sail toward this marker, or the island that I marked, while I walk around the deck, listen to the crew sing shanties, or do other things aboard the ship. Then once combat starts, they could step away from the helm by yelling out at their enemy ships, which the NPCs already do when you counter enemy ships, and then this helmsman hands control back to you. It will make longer journeys much more enjoyable without needing to place fast travel bells everywhere, and it could open the door for more interactive or decorative ship interiors as well. Because right now those interiors feel pretty empty after you took a look at them once. The naval combat itself though just feels good, and that's genuinely all I need to say. I do find the restrictions on which cannons each ship can equip annoying, so once again I modded that out. Yet the same mod that unlocks all the ship types makes them cost 1 rope as well, which I am not really fond of. It really breaks the illusion of you building this ship instead of just summoning it by throwing a piece of rope into the ocean. But the cannon restriction in vanilla still feels fucking weird to me. I'm a goddamn pirate after all. Why the fuck would I care that my catch is only supposed to have 12 pounders? If I somehow manage to have 36 pound cannons onto the thing without immediately sinking it, that's my fucking problem. Hell, I should be able to put 12 pounders on my frigate if I wanted to, and that's literally a downgrade damage-wise. Now, despite all my nagging though, I genuinely love how naval combat is handled. And now I should probably address the giant elephant in the room here properly. The same one I mentioned A across the script and B at the start. Yes, my game is modded. You could argue that unlocking every building piece, removing some restrictions, increasing ship speeds and changing my game settings means I'm not experiencing Windrose exactly as the developers intended, and you'd be correct. But I'm also not going to pretend otherwise. I just want to know which building pieces I have available without constantly buying blueprints just so I can see them in the build menu, then grind the resources needed to actually build the thing I just bought the blueprint for, or buying the resources so I can build the item. Yeah, just not my style of building and grind, really. Is the vanilla progression badly designed in my eyes? No, absolutely not, actually. I enjoyed it when I first played it because I played it without mods done, but does it constantly make me feel like I'm in fucking debt and like I'm constantly behind on resources? Also yes, and I do not fucking like it. My settings also make the game easier, so what you're seeing here is absolutely not representative of completely vanilla progression, but that is exactly why I mod games. I'd rather change a few minor things that I don't personally enjoy and continue loving the game than treat those subjective problems like they're somehow failures on the developer's part. And underneath those modifications is still a game I absolutely love. Windrose feels like a pirate epic. It gives me the same feeling I get when watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's honestly a feeling I struggle to put into words. I just love this romanticized pirate aesthetic. Sailing across the ocean with a crew, fighting other ships, discovering islands, building a hideout, and slowly creating your own story as a pirate. Windrose gives me exactly that, and even allows me to do it with friends if they had the game. Do I think Windrose is more fun with friends than solo, even if I've never played with other people? Yes. Can I still recommend it for solo play, if you want a pirate game where you make your own story? Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. If you made it to the end of the video here, leave a like. Kind of minute off the right if you stuck around. Subscribe if you want to see more. Or check out my video where I go along my journey through a pirate game that is a dark pirate epic instead. Flint, Treasure of Oblivion, or watch my latest video, as I think you'd love that too. But that's all the time I have for now. And with that, ciao, ciao, cool.